This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Ben Sears at Beta Echo Niner on Xbox Live.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. And welcome to The Obsessive Viewer. We're a movie and TV podcast that covers a specific topic, be it genre, trope, movie, or show, each episode. You can find more of our work at ObsessiveViewer.com, and you can also like us on Facebook and join the Facebook group at Facebook.com/TheObsessiveViewer. Additionally, you can also support us on Patreon at Patreon.com/ObsessiveViewer for exclusive audio content recorded specifically for Patreon supporters across several different tiers. $1 per month gets you access to an exclusive RSS feed with pre-show recordings. $2 gets you that, as well as some TV reviews that I do, kind of spur of the moment. And then $5 gets you all of that plus commentary tracks, and then $10 gets you all of that plus early access and unreleased content. So I'm your aforementioned host, Matt Hurt, and with me today is recurring co-host and contributing writer to the website and newly christened member of the Indiana Film Journalists Association, Mr. Ben Sears. How's it going?
Fantastic.
Nice. And officially on the official podcast, congratulations on joining the IFJA. Do you want to talk about that and all of that?
Sure. I don't know. I was accepted.
Nice.
By my peers, my fellow peers, yourself included.
Yes. For those who don't know, the IFJA is the Indiana Film Journalists Association, which I became a member of in 2019. I just went over this on Patreon, but I became a member in 2019, and I really enjoy it, and I'm super glad that Ben is now a part of it. And I'm going to adjust this real quick because I forgot to move the table closer to me. Okay. So yeah, so you're now a member. What are you looking forward to with it? And how do you feel?
It's gonna be fun. It's I'm excited for. This is gonna sound very vain, but I'm excited for like early access and screeners.
Yeah.
Just because it'll mean more an easier ability to get reviews out in a timely manner.
Yes.
So hopefully reviewing things either before they are widely released or the day of a wide release.
Yes.
So.
I'm as the person who runs ObsessiveViewer.com, I'm looking forward to that as well. Because I slack way too much with written content and everything, and I really, really love how, first of all, I really like your writing and everything. And yes, and second of all, I just really like the amount of output you have on that. So it's really good to have just something on the website that's not my annoying voice. So.
Well, I mean it with all sincerity that I could not have done it without you, and I appreciate all of the help and guidance that you've given me, and you and Tiny and Mike and Fecus and Kirsten and everyone involved, even tangentially.
She's right there.
Yeah. Mostly pizza.
Pointed at pizza.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm super glad to have you be a part of the team, and I'm very excited for your future as a member of the IFJA.
Same here.
Yeah. And speaking of which, so this is something I'm probably, it's boring to bring it up on the actual podcast, but something that I was meaning to say off mic, or meaning to mention to you off mic, is that with all the new equipment that I've gotten that I won't shut the fuck up about, I'm thinking in long-term kind of ways. So I just, for those listening, we're recording on a new mixer that I've been playing with the last couple of weeks, and just today I got new microphones specifically for podcasting. So my idea is that I will take, because we've been recording for years now on kind of handheld mics on mic stands. And so my thought is like, now that I have all the equipment, all the upgraded equipment and everything, I can shift my focus to working toward getting more robust mobile setups. So my thinking is we have like an H5, which is a handy recorder, has 2 microphone inputs. That's what I take to film festivals and stuff. But like I'm thinking like, okay, I can get like a second one that's a little bit more robust than that, so I can have 2 like handheld recorders that we can do at film festivals and stuff. So I don't know, just something I'm thinking about now that I've spent so much money on on equipment. I want to spend more money.
Yep.
So yeah. So anyway, that's just what I'm thinking. I'm really hoping that we get, film festival stuff.
Indie Film Fest is coming up.
Yes. Are they virtual this year again?
I need to talk with my friend about it. I think it might be similar to last year with some screenings at Tibbs and most of them virtual, but don't quote me on that. I need to talk with my friend who's a lot more involved than I am.
Okay. Let's see. I was gonna look up when. Do you know offhand when Indie Film Fest is?
It's normally in April.
Right.
I want to say like the middle of April.
Okay. I'm looking up their website now.
And I meant to ask him like when the lineup would be announced, but I have not gotten around to it.
Right. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to find on their website where it is, but I'm kind of having some trouble here. Indie Film Festival. Yeah.
I'll text him and
nice.
we'll break it in the middle of the episode.
Nice. Okay, the 18th Indie Film Fest on their website just says spring 2021. So I don't know if it's been officially announced yet or what have you. But yeah, I'm really, really itching for more film centric things to happen in Indianapolis, just because it's been a fucking year. So anyway. Today on the podcast, we are going to be talking about the Oscar nominees for the 2021 Oscars, which are going to take place on a date that I did not have prepared.
April 25th.
April 25th. Thank you. And so this is going to be kind of a rundown of the nominees. I'm really hoping that we can get in the next couple of weeks, maybe, or in a few weeks. I'm not sure. What I'm affectionately calling a Best Picture roundup, or Best Picture potpourri. That's the word. The potpourri section. Best Picture potpourri, where we just basically review all of the Best Picture nominees, including Mank, which is a movie I still have not seen, despite telling Ben that I would see it. And yeah. So yeah. Any other new business we need to go over? Oh, do you want to announce the next series of reviews you're going to do for Midwest Film Journal that you already said on Patreon?
I think that can be a Patreon exclusive.
Nice. Okay.
Little incentive for the listeners to sign up.
Yes, please support us at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Honestly,
get early access to find out what it'll be.
Yes, and it is a doozy. I'm super excited for that project, just because I'm anxious to see like how because there's so many to that specific thing. I'm just curious to see how, like, if it breaks you.
But I mean, it can't break me any more than Happy Madison has.
That's true.
So.
That is true. But yeah, check out Patreon, patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Like, okay, if you want to support us, that's fantastic. I would love you forever and everything at any of the levels. But I just want to say, I don't want to push a hard sell or anything, but I do want to say that I just upgraded the equipment quite a bit and everything. And a little kind of peek behind the curtain is that this setup like when I edit and post the episodes are a little bit bigger in file size, and so that means I need to upgrade the setting we have for our host for the podcast files, which means I'm going to be spending a little bit more money to upkeep the podcast. So if having tons of extra content doesn't incentivize you, Me having to spend more money, maybe that will. But yeah, the podcast is not going anywhere. Obviously, I'm going to be able to pay it and everything. But if you want to help offset that cost, go to patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. And Ben, you're a Patreon supporter. How do you feel about the Patreon and the amount of content that's there? Please say positive things.
You know, I just got my most recent stimulus check, and I came inches away from just depositing all of that into the Patreon. But I would have
committed you, I think. Like, I honestly would not have accepted that. If anyone else wants to do that, yeah. But yeah. Also, I'm selling my old equipment, so if you're interested in starting a podcast and you're in Indianapolis, selling like a mixer and a bunch of cool stuff, $300 for it. Anyway, that's all. This is a podcast. So the Oscars. Last year we did a nominee rundown that I should have listened to again, but I didn't. How do you feel, just as a refresher? How do you feel about the Oscars in general? Because I know that it's a little bit, I don't know. It's something.
It is something.
Yes.
Well said.
Yep.
I love the Oscars, and I look forward to it every year. I watched the nominations live this year.
Nice.
If that tells you anything.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear about my tweet?
No.
Oh, it was a doozy. I think I said it on Fecus's on the episode of the Fecus. But I'll just go ahead and say it again. The Oscar nominees were announced like early in the morning, obviously, like they usually are. And my tweet to that effect was something that I'm pulling up now. I've tweeted, I've actually not tweeted that much, and it's been very nice. But 3 days ago. Fun fact, they announced the Oscar noms in the morning, so you can watch the presentation over breakfast, making it an Oscar nom 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 presentation.
Oh, yeah.
So does that make you want to join Twitter?
It was...
Or reactivate your Facebook?
It had flushed from my brain until just now.
So you like the Oscars. I know that you out of all of the co-hosts on the podcast, you are the one who's most in tuned or most you have your ear more to the ground about award season than anyone else involved with the podcast, which is a compliment. Like that's it's good to have that for award season and everything. How, like, do you have like a kind of thought process when viewing that? Like, do you guess, like, do you make educated guesses based on what certain awards are nominated or what certain awards are given to certain movies and their chances for the Oscars? How do you, like, let's delve into your mind and your process for that.
Yeah, I mean, there is, to some extent, there is a little bit of a science behind it, especially with all the precursors.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard because, yes, the Academy does tend to reward certain types of movies over other types of movies, but I mean, like, Parasite was just the first non-American Best Picture winner. So, and then like before that, Moonlight won, and before Parasite, a certain movie,
fucking Green Book.
I wasn't gonna say.
Oh, you weren't.
But
okay, yeah.
But so, I mean. Plus, I mean, that same year, Olivia Colman beat out
who did
Glenn Close.
Glenn Close. Right.
Who was almost a lock for that award.
Right.
So,
did you ever? Was it The Wife?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever see that?
No.
Okay. Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard it's a prequel to The Father.
I was thinking about that. And I don't want to jump ahead or anything, but I don't know much about The Father.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do know about it is that it deals with, from what I understand, it deals with dementia.
Yeah.
I think. And like, I'm nervous to watch it because I've said it before on the podcast several times. I even said it on the Patreon exclusive It Chapter 2 commentary track that I released. $5 on Patreon, please. They're gonna break my legs, please. But no, I'm just kidding. But if you have the funds, please. Anyway, that type of disorder, that type of ailment, that type of disease is horrifying to me.
Yes.
And I'm very nervous about that. Like, that's also why I didn't see Julianne Moore
Still Alice.
Still Alice, yeah.
Yeah.
Which that sounds like it could be a fun double feature. Still Alice and the father.
Yeah, as someone who has seen Still Alice, that it is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, do you want to talk about the nominees proper or any more preamble?
Let's talk about, how do you feel about the nominees in general? Are you happy with most of them? Are you should we give kind of a generalized spoiler that Da 5 Bloods should have been nominated in virtually every category?
I mean,
or should we bring it up on each individual category?
Honestly, I wasn't crazy about Da 5 Bloods. I really wasn't. And it's not anything against the movie or anything. I just feel like of Spike Lee's recent movies, oh my God,
Black
Klansman
yeah.
was just amazing to me. And then Da 5 Bloods was fine, but it didn't really hook me as much as I was hoping it would. However, I will say, and we'll get to this when we get to actor in a supporting role, but oh God, the actor,
Delroy
Lindo.
Yeah.
He wasn't nominated, was he?
No, he was not.
Yeah, that is a travesty because his performance was phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert, I'll be bringing it up frequently throughout this podcast.
Nice. And I will be bringing up Hubie Halloween in every category.
Yep, as you should.
Yes.
And the wrong Missy.
Which I feel bad. I don't feel bad, but the wrong Missy was I mean, nothing.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. But I just watched it recently. It's bad.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of Lauren Lapkus from podcasts and everything, so I feel kind of I don't know. I don't feel bad because I don't know her, but it's just I don't know. I want good things for people who I listen to on podcasts. So
check out my roundtable discussions on that movie.
Nice.
In a couple months.
Nice. Awesome.
So anyway, how do you feel about the nominees in general?
Overall, I'm pretty okay with the nominees. I was very curious how many Best Picture nominees there was going to be, given the everything about 2020. And I'm pleasantly surprised that we got 8. And I mean, they're all, from the ones that I've seen, they all stand out as prestige movies. The kind of the thing. I'm very happy about some of them, which we'll get to.
Yes.
And I'm excited to watch several of them. I was overall, I can't really shake a stick at too many of these nominees or anything. It's a pretty solid.
It's kind of a weird feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no colorful pamphlet that you can point to and be angry about.
Right.
There's no clown person that you can be angry about. So it feels kind of weird that there just isn't an outrageous. I mean, there are some outrageous nominations here and there, but nothing to be too terribly upset about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which will make for great podcasting.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even notice some of the omissions until I saw some people talking about them and everything. Because, granted, I didn't really pay too close attention to like the announcement or anything, and I was just kind of still a little bit foggy in my kind of early part of the year, just like, okay, I don't really, I'm burnout from all of this stuff. But I'm overall satisfied with the nominees that we got.
Okay.
How, before we go into the different categories and everything, how do you feel about, or what are your expectations for the ceremony, and what have they said? Because they said, I thought I saw something today where they said that they're not going to have any Zoom presentations or anything, and that they're working really hard to make it the most safe in-person event or whatever. So I'm kind of curious what that's going to look like.
Yeah, I haven't really followed that aspect of it too closely. Okay. Did you watch the Golden Globes at all?
I didn't. Okay. How were they? Did you?
I thought the actual ceremony worked out okay. I mean, I was watching a Happy Madison movie while I had it on in the background, but the parts that I paid attention to seemed to be working out mostly smoothly. I mean, they had Tina Fey and Amy Poehler live in person, and then all of the nominees were on Zoom. Right. But I think all the presenters were there in person as well. Okay. So obviously not ideal. And who knows, with the vaccinations speeding along, right, how much it'll change by April 25th. But yeah, I mean, I feel like they handled it well enough. And did you hear that Steven Soderbergh is going to be a producer for the ceremony?
I did not hear that. So it's all going to be shot on iPhone.
Yeah, some weird wild shit, I'm sure.
It's all going to be just every nominee is going, or every presentation is going to be a separate thing that you have to watch in a particular order and everything. He did Mosaic, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, that was a thing on HBO, I think, Mosaic, where it was a whole bunch of, I don't know, Google it.
Let them all talk. Check it out.
Yes. And check out your review.
Yes.
I totally read everything. Yeah, so should we dig into the nominees?
Let's do it.
Okay. So first up, do you want me to name the first one?
Sure.
Okay, so starting from the bottom, now we're here. Film editing, we have The Father, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. So Ben, what do you think of these nominees for film editing?
I'm okay with them. I don't know what I will pick. Okay. Editing is kind of one of those weird, tricky categories that, you know, you almost have to be an expert at it, or
right.
I don't think the editing guild or whatever has had their awards yet, so I'll probably just end up picking whatever they crown as their biggest. You know what? Nice. I would have nominated in here if I could.
Da 5 Bloods?
Well, of course. That probably would be a good legit nominee. But I was gonna say Boys State, the documentary. Yeah. Because just knowing like their like time frame and the way that their shooting worked, and just how they must have just had tons of hours of footage to cut together, and to piece it together in such a tight, well-constructed narrative must have been just so incredibly difficult.
Honestly, I kind of wish that they had a separate category for documentary film editing, because like anytime I talk to a filmmaker like at Heartland or at a film festival and they're a documentary filmmaker, I'm just like my first question is how do you do what you do? Like, how do you do the editing process of a documentary, when, especially in a type of documentary, which granted Boy State had like a set amount of time that they were covering and everything, but like just picking the kind of freedom and massive amount of footage that they would have to go through to construct a narrative from the film editing is just, I really wish that there was like a documentary film editing one, but you know, that's a good pick. Or that's a good pick for what was snubbed. I would say in terms of the ones here, I mean, Sound of Metal, I think would be a very good win for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, which of those have you seen and not seen?
Yes. So I have seen all of them except for The Father.
Okay, same here.
Nice.
I would say, yeah, Sound of Metal would be good. I have a feeling if I had to put money on it now, I have a feeling it would probably be Trial of the Chicago 7 for no reason in particular, but just because it's such a sprawling narrative with so many characters and it covers so much.
That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would really hope for Nomadland as well.
Yeah.
I kind of want that to sweep all the categories it's gotten, because that I really like that movie, and you've seen it since we last talked about movies on the podcast.
I have only seen it the once.
Okay.
And that was back in, I think, December.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember if we talked about it at all?
I don't think we ever gave it like a proper review.
Okay. What'd you think about it, just in brief terms?
Fantastic.
Nice. Yeah, me too. Yep.
And we'll talk even more about it.
Oh, yes.
As this episode goes on.
Oh, yeah. So do you want to do the next one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Visual effects?
Yes.
Visual effects: Love and Monsters, The Midnight Sky, Mulan, The One and Only Ivan, and Tenet.
Nice. And of these, I have seen Tenet, Mulan, The Midnight Sky, and Love and Monsters. Or in other words, no, I haven't seen Mulan. So I've seen all of them except for The One and Only Ivan and Mulan.
Okay.
And I just want to say, Love and Monsters, I was surprised to see that. Like, I mean, that's a cute little movie.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it just was not on my radar whatsoever. I mean, I only knew of it because you and Kirsten talked about it. So I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, it's very solid. I was pleasantly surprised. In terms of visual effects, I mean, I guess The Midnight Sky was cool, but the movie overall didn't really do much of anything for me. I know that you saw it. Yeah,
just recently, yeah. And it also did not really do anything for me.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the visual effects were good. It's probably as close to a like a big budget kind of effects heavy blockbuster kind of thing on this list. I mean, aside from Tenet, of course.
Right. Or in other words, Tenet, Morph, Dice, it's backwards. Aside from Tenet, backwards.
Oh.
So
okay.
I inverted it.
Anyway.
Do you think Tenet has a chance to get the Oscar for this?
It would be my pick.
Okay.
It's what I want to win. Because as we discussed on whatever episode that was, the practical effects versus the CGI effects are crazy. There are a lot more practical effects than CGI in that movie, and you would not really know that looking at it initially.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, visually, it was spectacular. Like, it delivered on visual effects and stunts and everything. Like, the amount of work that went into the visual effects is very prominent in the movie. Just everything else about it just did not work for me. Or in other words, Roth, I'm not going to do all that.
Okay.
Crow.
Do you think if Tenet loses, Christopher Nolan will go up there and say, "If I can't have it, no one can"?
I hope so.
That'll make it all worth it, right?
God damn it.
So I have not seen Love and Monsters or One and Only Ivan. So
okay, The One and Only Ivan, is that a Disney movie?
Yes, it's on Disney Plus.
Gotcha. Yeah. What'd you think of Mulan?
I was not terribly impressed with the visual effects.
Okay. Gotcha.
Or the movie in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kirsten and I watched Raya and the Last Dragon, and we were supposed to record, but we didn't. But that movie did nothing for me either. So yeah, and I was surprised because like I don't know. I was surprised that it's $30 for the premium access. Like I was like, even for a movie that's good. Yeah. So I don't know. It would be nice if Love and Monsters gets the award. Like I think that would be my kind of pick, just because that's my pick for what I want to win. Just because I was really charmed by it. I don't think it has a snowball's chance in hell. Honestly, the visual effects weren't great. I mean, it's a pretty low budget movie. So what they did with what I assume was the budget of the movie is pretty impressive. But it also kind of just has a bit of a kind of cheesy factor to it, I guess. Just very slightly. But I was still charmed by it, and I think it would be nice to see that get the win. I think Tenet is more likely to get it though.
Yeah, I mean, one of the rules that I have learned in my studies of the Oscars is that it's not necessarily the movie with the best effects, it's the one with the most like prestigious movie that had some visual effects. Like last year 1917 beat out Avengers Endgame and Star Wars and The Lion King. The year before that it was First Man. So it's I don't know, given that I don't know if Tenet would get it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I feel like Midnight Sky is probably a safe bet.
Yeah, I guess. I just did not like that movie. And
nope.
I'm like predisposed to like that type of movie. Like I'm a sucker for like the big budget studio prestigious yearly space movie.
Yes.
That seems to come out every year. Like Ad Astra, The Martian, Gravity, all that. But like The Midnight Sky it just didn't work for me.
Boring as hell, that's why.
It really was. I will say the kind of set piece, I think toward the middle of the movie, involving a spacewalk, like as kind of cliched as that is as a concept and as in execution, it's still pretty cliched.
Yeah.
There are certain aspects to it that, like, when obviously that something is going to go wrong and that something is going to happen. And while a lot of it was very much like copy paste from Gravity,
yep.
There was like at least one element, and then I can't even remember specifically what exactly it was, but it stood out to me nonetheless at the time, and like that was like the high point of the movie for me. Yeah, but it still didn't really work for me.
Yeah.
Yep. Shall we move on to original score?
Sure.
Okay, so this one is original score is Da 5 Bloods, Mank, Minari, News of the World, and Soul. And interesting that oh god, wow, Atticus Ross and Ross.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Atticus Ross
and Trent Reznor. Yeah. Nominated for both Soul and Mank.
Yep.
Yeah. Of these movies, I have seen all but Mank. And yeah, how do you feel about this roster of nominees?
I have seen all except for News of the World.
Nice.
I don't have to complain about Da 5 Bloods in this category, so
nice.
I will say I really liked the score for Nomadland, so I'm kind of surprised that it wasn't nominated here.
Yeah, especially because that movie is so it is such an atmosphere movie that like you would think that the score would like make it in the cut because it's so prevalent. But wow, yeah.
Yeah, the other one, surprisingly, Tenet. I love the soundtrack for that.
Me too. Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, that's the one category where I would have been like all in for Tenet. That's a shame. Yeah.
Yeah. And
do you think that when like the Academy voters and everything, when they sampled the soundtracks and everything, do you think that like they just accidentally went deaf when they heard the Tenet score? Or when they watched Tenet, or
please, Matt, there's a whole sound category where we can save all this for.
Yes. I should have saved it. Yep. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I should have brought this over, and I was planning on it, but I forgot. Because Tenet was on the Oscar shortlist for original score. I guess it just didn't make the cut though. There's also the visual effects shortlist, but I can't remember what was on it that didn't make the cut off the top of my head. But anyway, it's gonna be Soul.
Yeah, and that I loved Soul. I need to rewatch it because I was so taken with it just at a conceptual level. It was like Pixar just going back to that complicated, going back to like a complicated construct in dispelling that information or saying a take on that information in a very easy to digest way, like they did with Inside Out and Coco even, which is kind of similar and to an extent, but it's I loved Soul. I think that Soul I think is a good lock for it, I think.
Yeah.
Now the next couple of categories are the short films, which I have not seen any of them, but if I understand correctly, you have seen some of them.
I have seen some of them.
Okay. You want to just run with this these two categories?
Yeah, sure. Animated short and live action short are our next two. So I tried to get ahead of this and looked at the short list and tried to watch as many of them as I could before the nominations. And go figure, I've seen 2 of the animated shorts and 3 of the live action shorts.
Nice. Okay.
That were nominated. I saw a couple that were not. I don't feel confident enough to pick any of them in either category, but the live action short, I really liked Feeling Through, and I really liked Wide Eye.
Okay.
If you go on my Letterboxd, in my diary for all of the nominated ones, I post like where I watch them at. Like Burrow is on Disney Plus. If Anything Happens, I Love You is on Netflix.
Right. Which Netflix has a nice. When I loaded up Netflix today, it's like, oh, view our Academy Award nominees collection, and it just has all of the Oscar nominations that they have on there, or all of their nominations.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of all in one little collection.
Yeah. The Letter Room, I will point out, stars Oscar Isaac and Aaliyah Shawkat.
Oh,
and
interesting.
It was so disappointing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't really have much more to say about it, but we can move on.
So would you say that you gave it an F, the letter F, because the Letter Room or
pretty
something?
Close.
Yikes. Well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
I've heard incredible things about If Anything Happens, I Love You.
It is pretty dark.
Yeah, that's what I understand. Yeah. So the next category is, this is a change up from previous years. Achievement in sound. Did they announce that they were changing this category or changing the categories?
I'm sure they did. Okay. I don't remember when. It was probably sometime last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we don't have to get the annual question of what's the difference between mixing and sound editing.
Yes, I do not have to pretend to I don't have to mumble my half-assed thought of what it could mean as someone who produces podcasts in his free time. Anyway, the nominees are Achievement in Sound, Greyhound, Mank, News of the World, Soul, and Sound of Metal. And I've seen all of these except for Mank and Greyhound. And I've got to say, if Sound of Metal doesn't get this, I don't know. It's a lock.
Yeah, that is one of the two things that everyone was saying about it when it first came out.
Yeah.
The sound quality is great and Riz Ahmed.
And it sound itself plays such a pivotal role in that movie.
Yes.
Like it is I almost said that old cliche. It's almost a character in and of itself. But no, it's so pivotal to it. And like when you get to the point, to a certain point in the movie where it comes, like it lands like a hammer, and it is the kind of summation of a lot of things about the movie. So it's incredibly important. And I think that they really nailed the sound design and the sound mixing. As if I know what that means.
It would not have the same poignancy or resonance that it does if it had been designed a different way. The sound.
Now, sorry, I was just gonna say, do you think that the Academy voters watched Tenet and then got were deaf, and that's why they didn't nominate it?
I was gonna like whoever would have accepted the award for Tenet for sound would have done so with a garbled microphone and halfway across the room.
I would
wearing a mask.
God, and then whoever played, like the orchestra or whoever they have playing the play out music, would just overload the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's fucking ugh. Anyway.
I'm happy and surprised about Greyhound though.
Oh yeah, you saw that movie. It's on Apple TV Plus.
Yes.
Interesting, 2 Tom Hanks movies this year. News of the World and Greyhound.
Yeah.
Greyhound I didn't get a chance to see, or I didn't get around to seeing it. How did you feel about it? For those who didn't read your review.
It's okay. I think I was a little rosier on it than a lot of other people.
Okay.
I could even see myself watching it again, just kind of like throwing it on in the background. I feel like out of a lot of movies that would have been great to see in the theater, that would be one of them. Because I mean, I watch it on my shitty little iPhone with my shitty little headphones.
Right.
And it just doesn't compare to a theater experience.
Yeah, I definitely get that. Do you think it has a chance to win?
No.
Okay.
It's
because
Sound of Metal. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Costume design?
Yes.
Okay. Costume design. Emma. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. 1992's The Mighty Ducks. Mulan. Pinocchio.
I am because I watched Mighty Ducks instead of Mank.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Hey, say what you will. The Mighty Ducks had some great costume design in it.
Those uniforms, man.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They really pop. So I will see your. I'm going to bring up the 5 Bloods in every category and everything, and raise you one Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, because this movie kind of blew me away, and the costume design in it is immaculate. It is phenomenal. So I think that would be my pick. Also, I completely forgot that Pinocchio existed, like as a movie in 2020.
I think a lot of people probably did.
Yeah.
So I have not seen Emma and Pinocchio.
Okay. So right, I haven't seen those either, or Mank. So,
but I mean, I could pretty much tell you what the costumes look like in Emma. It's you know, a British period drama. So
I just realized Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is the only one of this list that I've seen. So,
wow.
If you're filling out your ballots or your brackets or ballots, I guess for your own Oscar pool and everything, and you're judging your costume design on me, just know that this is the only movie that I saw of this category. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
I will say the costumes in Milan were good.
Nice.
And they were very intricate.
Okay.
And I agree. I liked them in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Despite it, like, there only being like a handful of characters, and none of them really changed costumes, but it's not like most costumes, it's best costumes. So
yeah, and just like how elaborate they are and everything, like they look amazing.
Yeah.
And even I think with even the heat of the scene, like the set where like everyone's sweating and everything, I think that kind of informs it also, and a little bit it accentuates the costuming, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
It's been a while since I've watched Mank, but I feel like the costumes in that were good. Good enough to win, I don't know. Because I know the Academy tends to go for the Emma type of costumes.
Yeah.
Like last year, Little Women won. So,
right. Do you think so? I mean, this is maybe too broad of a question, especially when we're kind of just in the middle of the nominees and everything. But do you think Mank, as someone who hasn't seen it, I'm asking, do you think that that's going to have a chance to be like a sweep, just because the Academy loves to jerk itself off with movies about movies and stuff? Do you think that it has a chance to kind of take everything? Not everything, but most.
No.
Okay.
Good. I think there's a small chance that it will win nothing.
Okay. Interesting.
Not because it's bad. It is good, but I mean, Nomadland is just such a powerhouse this year.
Yeah.
I could see it winning a couple, maybe one or two of the craft categories that it's nominated in, like
best craft services.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You can. Yeah. It is a movie about Hollywood, so
right.
Got to have good craft services. Yeah. It's kind of hard to say, like, what Netflix always gets a ton of nominations, and Mank is the most nominated this year, but it very rarely pans out.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Last year, I think Laura Dern might have been the only Netflix nominee that won anything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they had The Irishman and
that's right.
Marriage Story, and I think Laura Dern was the only one. We'll have to go back and check the tape on that. But
that sounds right.
Yeah.
Also, The Irishman, I think I don't know. Well, I haven't seen Mank, so I can't really compare the two, but The Irishman was kind of I don't know. I don't want to say dead on arrival kind of thing, but for me, it was just like a dud.
Well, it kind of feels that way with Mank now. Like it's been out for so long, and Nomadland and Judas and the Black Messiah are just taking over the conversation, it feels like. So,
yeah. You might say that with Nomadland being kind of one of the bigger conversation pieces of the you're giving me a look.
Yeah.
One of the big conversation pieces with Nomadland being one of the big conversation pieces about this crop of Academy Award nominees this year. You might think that maybe Netflix headquarters would be you don't know, they could be upset about it. It could be all Madland. Because they're all mad about Nomadland.
So do you want to pick costume design or?
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, since that's the only one that I've seen. I am really, I'm really proud of the idea for that joke, but the execution was nothing.
Nope.
So shall we move on to cinematography?
I'll pick Mank for that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yes,
What was your pick?
let's talk.
Okay.
Let's talk cinematography.
Okay. So the nominees are Sean Bobbitt for Judas and the Black Messiah, Eric Messerschmidt for Mank, Darius Walski for News of the World, Joshua James Richards for Nomadland, and Pheidon Papamichael for The Trial of the Chicago 7. So cinematography is one of the big ones, is a big category and everything. Of these nominees, I have seen Nomadland and The Trial of the Chicago 7. How about you?
I have seen all of them except for News of the World.
Okay.
And sorry, to go back to costume design, I wish that Birds of Prey would have been a nominee.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Because I remember now, they were on the short list for that one.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Costumes great in that movie.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. I need to revisit that movie.
Me too.
Yeah.
Anyway, cinematography.
Yeah. So you've seen all but News of the World. How do you feel about this crop of nominees?
I am okay with it.
Okay.
You know, I wish that I forget if this was a shortlist category or not, but I kind of wish that this would be a category with Promising Young Woman.
Yeah.
Because I liked the kind of like bright, colorful atmosphere of that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good point. And I really want to revisit Promising Young Woman. Just to get a different, just to not readjust, but just to see how I feel about it, because there's been so much conversation about it, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But I can't really reconcile my love for it with some of the detracting, not necessarily detracting opinions, but some of the criticism levied at it. I kind of want to rewatch it just to kind of see if like those stick out to me or anything. But I loved it when I saw it. It did have a very kind of rich color palette, and there was a surprising amount of vibrancy to the like lighting and the color and everything.
Yeah.
For a movie that has a lot of darkness surrounding it, or kind of on the outer edges of it. So yeah, that's interesting.
But yeah, I like the nomination for Nomadland. I even like it for Mank, and I like it for Judas and the Black Messiah, because that was the cinematography there was really great. The colors in that were just really worked with the tone of the movie.
Nice. I mean, Nomadland was stunning.
Yeah.
Especially with that just sprawling kind of setting for it. And honestly, I would say for my pick, it would probably be that over Trial of the Chicago 7 and News of the World. I haven't seen Mank or Judas and the Black Messiah. How about you?
You know, I could see, I think Nomadland is probably a pretty safe bet, but I don't know a ton about it, but I remember reading and hearing about the technical process that went into making Mank, and how they tried to make it look and feel as accurately to the time period as possible, which really worked. In terms of the feel for it.
Yeah, and so I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen Mank yet, but I did start it a few times. This is when I was suffering from COVID and #MattStrong, and I started it a couple times, and I just couldn't focus on it just because I was like, I had a fever and I was just kind of bedridden with COVID. But the thing that I did notice, the thing that did stand out to me, and this is kind of going back to achievement in sound, but the kind of, I don't know if it was like a mono track or something, or I don't know exactly what processing went into it, but it sounds like that crackly like 40s film.
Yeah.
And I feel like there is so much work and care that must have gone into replicating that feel and that sound and the look for the cinematography and everything. Granted, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know how it is past like the 3-minute mark, but I think that
those first 3 minutes are all you really need to watch.
Oh yeah, it has that typewriter interior Mank house or something.
The rest of the 2+ hours are just filler.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I hear. So yeah. So did you give your pick for cinematography? Or did I interrupt you?
No, I mean I kind of wish-washed it, but
okay.
I'll probably pick Nomadland.
Okay, nice. And then do you want to read off production design?
As soon as my shitty website will get back to it. Okay. Cinematography. Five Bloods. Have to mention it.
Yeah.
Good cinematography.
Honestly, yeah.
Flashback scenes. The flashback scenes, where they made it look like the aspect ratio changed, if I remember right, and then like the film stock kind of changed, so it looked more period accurate,
very distinctive.
So,
yeah. I honestly, I would not give you any friction on that if it were nominated. I think that it deserved to be nominated, if not be a front runner for it, because I wouldn't even say I had issues with it. I was just kind of meh about it. But the things that I was meh about it were not due to anything stylistically in the cinematography. I'll say that.
Okay.
Yep.
So
production design.
Production design. We have The Father, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, D2 The Mighty Ducks,
nice.
News of the World, and Tenet.
Nice. I've seen all of these except for Mank and The Father. I would say Ma Rainey's Black Bottom just because. Well, I would say Ma Rainey's Black Bottom for what I want to get it, but I think the Tenet might actually have a shot to actually get it. Because of the scale and like the actual production design of that movie, as nonsensical and as frustrating as I found that movie to be. It was like the actual design, like the production design, everything about it, like all the pieces that came together and everything, as nonsensical as they were, were pretty impressive in terms of set pieces. But that's stuff that Nolan has been doing for like 20 years. So, I mean, I didn't expect anything less from him this time around, and he delivered on that front.
Yeah, I can't argue with that because there were some great sets, great details in those sets.
In other words, Stess, Isat.
We should say you are wearing red and I am wearing blue.
Right. Or in other words, lube and lube.
So yeah, I've heard good things about the production design for The Father, believe it or not.
Interesting.
Because it's a play adaptation.
I didn't know that about it. I know next to nothing about it except for what we've already talked about.
I mean, yeah, those two things are pretty much what I know about.
Okay.
And the actors that are in it. But I've heard that the production design in that is very good in terms of like it doesn't have a ton of sets, but the details in those sets are they really help establish the mood of the film and all of that. I think I might pick Mank in this just because I feel like the Academy tends to go for these period films that have, very specific, like last year, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood won.
Yeah, that's true.
And so for Mank, they had to get all these, 1930s, 1940s Hollywood details. And there are some really great sets and really great the production design is really stunning.
Awesome. Yeah. I'll have to watch it. Again, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I think that they just replicated that era incredibly well, and yeah, that's what that's where I'd go. Is it my turn to read or your turn?
I believe it's your turn.
Okay, so now we're in the big ones. Yeah, holy crap! So, best director. We've got Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round, David Fincher for Mank, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, and Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. Now, Ben, of these movies, I've seen every single one of them except for Mank, and I've got.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say I was very pleasantly surprised to see Thomas Vinterberg be nominated for Another Round. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Okay, what did you think of it?
I feel like I need to watch it again because I was not in the greatest of moods when I watched it.
Seeing Mads Mikkelsen dance didn't lift your spirits?
Well, yeah, of course. You might say that I would need to elevate my blood alcohol content to fully enjoy it.
Nice.
I don't think you're alone in being totally surprised that he was nominated because it was. I mean, we'll talk about some of the other directors that he beat out, but it was surprising. I mean, I'm okay with it. He directed the shit out of that.
Yeah, it was really like something I really loved about it. For those who don't know, it's about a group of men, Danish men,
yes,
who they kind of create like they decide to test a theory that they have that by keeping their blood alcohol level at a steady rate, like by constantly drinking and monitoring it, their life could be better, I guess. But it has obviously some complications and everything, and it's what I really loved about it was how it dispels or how it gives us that story in a kind of clinical or methodical kind of way. Like they're typing up like research like reports and stuff like actual scientific data and everything, and it's still pretty compelling and pretty interesting. So
yeah.
So what do you think of the nominees overall, aside from him, and how upset are you that Da 5 Bloods is not on there?
Yes, that is on there. Yes, Spike Lee could have and should have been nominated. I don't know. Out of these nominees, I don't know whose place he would take. Obviously, Thomas Vinterberg is kind of the sore thumb in this one, but like I said, I'm not mad about him being nominated.
Yeah.
I am really thrilled and happy that Lee Isaac Chung got nominated.
Me too. Me too.
The rest of these, it's there's no surprise that they were.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see Regina King get nominated for One Night in Miami.
One Night in Miami is another blind spot that I haven't seen it, and I've heard incredible things. And it didn't get completely because Leslie Odom Jr. got a nomination.
It got a couple. Which we'll get to, but yeah.
Okay.
Because in a year when there were several plays and musicals that were adapted, I liked hers the best. I liked One Night in Miami the best. And we could have actually gotten even more with In the Heights and West Side Story were all supposed to come out last year.
Oof. Yep. Fucking 2020. But In the Heights is coming soon in June, I think.
To HBO Max.
Yep. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Yeah. So did you say what your pick would be?
Oh man.
It's a tough one. It is a tough one.
It's not that tough. It's gonna be Chloe Zhao. I mean, granted,
I hope so.
We're recording this before the DGA awards are announced, and that is almost a lock for what's going to win the Oscar.
Okay.
But I mean, she won the Golden Globe.
Mm-hmm.
She won, you know, all the top prizes at all the film festivals last year.
Yeah.
So it'll be Chloe Zhao.
Yeah.
And I will not be mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super happy about it.
Me too. I don't think Emerald Fennell has a chance. I don't think I would like to see it because I did enjoy Promising Young Woman, but I think that I would be shocked if she won in that category.
In this category, yeah, maybe.
But I mean, I would be happy with really Chloe Zhao, Lee Isaac Chung, or Thomas Vinterberg. Any of those three, I would be happy with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think the general consensus from what I have read is that Vinterberg kind of took Aaron Sorkin's spot.
Oh,
so
okay.
How do you feel about that? Are you?
I'm fine with it. I've kind of softened. I maybe hardened on. That's weird. I've kind of loosened my. I don't know.
You've soured on.
Soured. That's the word. Thank you. Yes. I've kind of soured on Sorkin a little bit. I mean, there's so much to. I think he's a better writer than he is a director.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that. And that, I mean, that obviously he's very famous for his writing, and particularly his dialogue is just rapid fire and unrealistic, but rapid fire and crazy. But I think that in terms of directing, I mean he did have a big task at hand directing such a big ensemble and having it take place over a certain span of time and having to employ some flashbacks here and there, and then giving equal time to equal characters and having a lot to juggle like that. I mean, that's a lot, and that is pretty. It is surprising to see that he's not included, but I think overall I just enjoyed another round a lot more, reasonably more.
Plus, I think it helps Vinterberg's case that it's a wholly original work.
That's true.
That I think he wrote that movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that kind of helped out.
I agree.
In his favor.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I would just be happy with Chloe Zhao, Lee Isaac Chung, or Thomas Vinterberg. Yeah. Or, in other words, if any of those three won, then I would say that my apartment, when I'm watching it, would be its own Nomadland, because I would not be mad if any of those three won.
All right, what's next?
Actress in a leading role. Do you want to read the nominees?
Okay, actress in a leading role: Viola Davis from Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andra Day for United States versus Billie Holiday. I screwed that up very badly.
You're fine.
United States versus Billie Holiday.
There you go.
Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman.
Nice. So
I've seen all of these.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes.
I have seen all of them except I have not seen the United States versus Billie Holiday or Pieces of a Woman.
Mm-hmm.
So since you've seen all of them, which is the standout for you?
You know, I might be alone in this one, but personally, I liked Vanessa Kirby the best.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That, again, that's another one of those movies where I know the subject matter and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can, I don't know when I'll have the emotional capacity to kind of dive into this.
And
this movie.
I put it off for the exact same reason.
Yeah. Nice.
And I'm glad that I watched it, but yeah, the opening, if you've heard anything about it, the opening is exactly as advertised.
Jeez.
I mean, it's very impressive, just from a technical, logistical standpoint, but it's rough. And she is great just in those moments alone. But the rest of the movie, she's incredible.
Nice. Who did she star opposite that?
Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, that's right. Okay. How was he?
He's a lot.
Okay.
Think of how you felt about Kenneth Branagh.
Oh,
in Tenet, and
there's a joke I can make.
Maybe
and I'm
dial
not
it down a little bit,
Okay.
but kind of on that level.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see that in him, like him just kind of going big. Yeah.
That being said, he is not the only reason that movie doesn't work.
Okay.
It's got its own script problems and all that, but
Gotcha.
anyway.
This category for me, of the three that I've seen, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Nomadland, and Promising Young Woman, I think that those three performances, Viola Davis, Frances McDormand, and Carey Mulligan, I think that those three are powerhouse performances.
Mhm.
Like, this is a freaking stacked category.
Yes.
And I think for me, I think my heart lies with Frances McDormand. She in Nomadland, she puts so much into her performance, like so much quiet pain and mourning into her performance that it's just it is a knockout performance. It's a powerhouse. And as much as I think Carey Mulligan and Viola Davis did a phenomenal job as well, I've got to go with Frances McDormand.
Yeah.
It
is a very subtle performance, and it's I can't really imagine another actress that could pull off what she did. So
yeah, same here.
And I mean, up until the Golden Globes, I would have agreed with you, but she did not win the Golden Globe.
That's right. Who won?
Andra Day.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. How was the United States versus Billie Holiday?
Kind of like Pieces of a Woman. Andra Day is the best part.
Okay.
It's very, like I said.
That's what you meant by that. Okay. I was nervous.
I said this in my Letterboxd review, but it's basically the same as every other musician biopic. Ray and Walk the Line and Rocket Man and
after Rocket Man, I'm taking a sabbatical from music biopics. Just because as whimsical and as interestingly produced as that was, I also can't deny that it was exactly like every music biopic that you can that throw a dart at a wall of music biopics, and it's like it's the same structure and same everything as any of the others.
Yeah. And like I said, Andra Day is great. She's it's more than an imitation of Billie Holiday, because Billie Holiday has a very distinct voice, and I don't know, I'll have to do some research to see if she actually sang herself or if it was a vocal track. But
in terms of like music biopics like that, or not even music biopics, but like movies that have like vocal performances like that and music and everything, do you, when gauging an actor's performance, do you, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this, do you knock points off if it's a vocal track that they're just playing to, or if they do the work to actually do the vocalizing and everything?
It is definitely more impressive if they are singing themselves. Like Bradley Cooper sang himself in Star is Born. So I was very impressed with that. But I mean, I'm an idiot, so I can't really say that I'm an expert at, detecting whether they're actually singing themselves or not. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, also working in Andra Day's favor is Renee Zellweger won for Judy last year, which is, again, a musician biopic that hits a lot of the exact same notes. So, I mean, maybe it's going to become its own thing.
And then Rami Malek won for
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yep. Yeah.
So, who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I want Vanessa Kirby to win. I think I would still put my money on Frances McDormand. But then again, she's won what, 2 or 3 Oscars already? She's won at least 2.
Huh.
She won for Fargo and 3 Billboards.
Oh, that's right. Don't you know?
Maybe one other one as well, but I can't remember. I know she has won those too. Wow. So I think if it's not Frances McDormand, it might actually be Carey Mulligan.
I would be happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Carey Mulligan is an actress that I wouldn't say that I've been following her career, but I remember the first time that I saw her was when she was in that episode of I almost said of Blink-182, of Doctor Who, titled Blink. And like that is a famous episode of Doctor Who where a lot of people are like, this is the entry point. This is where you need to watch this episode to get a good feel for what the show is. And she is the focal character in that, and like it always stood out to me as like, this is a good performance. And then when I saw Promising Young Woman, I was like, for some reason, I think because her performance in Doctor Who and the performances that I've seen from her since then, she seems like an older performer. Like she seems older than she is. So like when I was like, oh, she's playing like a 30-year-old in this, that's kind of weird. I was like, oh wait, oh wow. And then I had a little bit of an existential crisis. Like, oh my God, she's like younger than me. And like I was a kid when I felt like I was a kid when I watched Blink, but I was in my 20s. But I don't know where I'm going with that. But I think it would be great for Carey Mulligan to win, just because I feel like she is kind of a performer who hasn't broken out the way that I feel like her talent would necessitate her to have at this point.
Right.
So yeah. So if there are problems with Promising Young Woman, perhaps perhaps aside from any problems with it, I think her performance is strong enough to earn an award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep. Shall we move on to actor in a leading role?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it my turn or yours?
I think it's mine.
Okay.
So we've got actor in a leading role, Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Gary Oldman for Mank, and Steven Yeun for Minari. Now, I have seen all of these except for Mank and The Father. I believe that Riz Ahmed is the first Muslim to be nominated for actor in a lead role, and Steven Yeun is the first Asian American to be nominated for Best Actor. How do you feel about these nominees?
Fantastic. Yeah. Of course, this is the drop the Five Bloods clip in here.
Who would you have wanted to get the Best Actor in a Lead role?
Delroy Lindo.
Okay. You don't think that would have been supporting?
No.
Okay.
I think he distinguishes himself enough throughout that movie to justify leading role status.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So who would you pick for this, and who do you think will win?
I think that Chadwick Boseman is as safe of a bet in any of these categories as any. Yeah.
I agree, and it's tricky. I feel like maybe this is my own personal perspective on things, but I kind of feel like when we have like a posthumous nominee, I kind of feel like maybe there is whispers or an undercurrent to it that like, oh, if they win, it's just because they died. And I mean, I think so Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was Chadwick Boseman's final performance, and I mean, I was blown away by that performance. There is so much pathos to that performance, and so much just filtered and unfiltered rage and power behind his performance in that movie. And I think that, I think tragedy aside, he was maybe my favorite male performance of the year, of the movies I saw, and I think he would be very, very well deserved.
Yes.
To win that. But then again, Riz Ahmed was fantastic. And I loved Steven Yeun as a more subtle, kind of understated performance. So I don't know. It's a toss up, but I think Chadwick Boseman is kind of a lock.
Yeah.
Would you have rather seen him nominated for The Five Bloods over Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, or?
No. I maybe this is just me, but I was never super into the campaign to nominate him for The Five Bloods.
Interesting. Okay.
Though I would take any nomination for The Five Bloods at this point, but yeah, I mean, just I feel like there were bigger supporting performances in The Five Bloods than him.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, I mean, yes, he is very good in the scenes that he's in. He's just not in them a bunch.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get a ton to do compared to the other actors that are in that, like Isaiah Whitlock or Clark Peters.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Wow, that cast is amazing.
Nominated for Best Cast at the SAGs.
Oh, nice. Have the SAGs happened?
No.
Okay.
I think they're the first weekend of April.
Gotcha.
April 4th, I think.
Okay. How do you feel about Riz Ahmed's nomination, really?
Fantastic. Super happy that he got it.
Yeah.
Same with Steven Yeun. I mean, both of them are actors who have had really solid, really effective careers, especially the last couple of years, like Steven Yeun with Burning.
Also in Sorry to Bother You.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Riz Ahmed, just ever since he kind of came on the scene, just everything that I've seen him in, he's been great.
Nightcrawler, the Night of. Yeah, I mean, this is very well deserved.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I forget if he won the Golden Globe or not.
Maybe.
Okay, so he did not win the Golden Globe.
Okay, who won the Golden Globe?
Chadwick Boseman.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Because his wife gave the speech. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to move on to original screenplay?
Yes.
Okay, and it's your turn if you want to read them.
Okay. Original screenplay: Judas and the Black Messiah, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Nice. And I've seen all of these except for Judas and the Black Messiah, and I am assuming that you've seen all of them?
I have, yeah.
Nice. How do you feel about this category, and what would you pick to win?
Oh, man. Original screenplays are tough to predict sometimes, and this would be one of them. You know, as much as I don't want it to, I think the winner is probably going to be Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yeah.
Just because I know the Academy tends to drool over Aaron Sorkin and his screenplays.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
I liked the Trial of the Chicago 7. I really did, but man, like I think that of the 4 that I've seen, of the 5, the Trial of the Chicago 7 would probably be lowest on the totem pole for me. I would love if Minari got it. I think that because that screenplay, that story and everything is such a quintessentially American, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like the American dream story, and through the perspective of Korean American characters, like I think that's a really interesting perspective to present that from, or to present that American dream story. And I think that lends such a uniqueness to it. And it's like Steven Yeun's performance, it's understated. It's very subtle in the way that it tells the story. Whereas like Promising Young Woman is kind of more bombastic in the storytelling and very flashy, I guess would be the word that I would use to describe it. And to a lesser extent, Sound of Metal has, for the script for Sound of Metal, I kind of found like slight issues with how it depicted his his and well, I can't really speak to this, but the kind of attitude that it has toward like cochlear implants and surgical correction of deafness, like that kind of just, it felt a little weird to me in a sense, and I can't speak to that because I'm not part of that community or anything, obviously, but I just felt like that just kind of felt a little strange to me. But yeah, I don't know. I think I would go with Minari.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would love to see Promising Young Woman win for this, just because it's such an original take on the quote unquote rape revenge story, or the even just like the Me Too kind of movement in a way. I think that was a great way to tackle it. And I agree with your assessment of Minari. It feels very personal. Like Lee Isaac Chung could have, I think he was the screenwriter for that one.
I think so. Yeah.
He is the only person that could have told that story.
Absolutely.
So, you know what I would have liked to see here, and I don't know if The Five Bloods would qualify as original or adapted, but I'll just toot that horn there. But
sure.
The Assistant.
Yeah, man. Okay, so The Assistant and Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Those two, did they get completely shut out?
Yes.
Okay, that is a travesty.
Yeah,
both are incredible movies.
I mean, I can understand why, because you know they had little to no buzz to them outside of critics circles.
That's true.
Like neither one of them was nominated for any of the Golden Globes or the SAGs or or even the BAFTAs. So I can understand it from that standpoint, but like The Assistant with its screenplay was just such a unique way, again, to tell the Me Too story or the Harvey Weinstein story.
Right.
And just all the subtle ways that it did that, I was really impressed with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Man.
I guess also to backtrack, Julia Gardner would have gotten on my Oscar ballot, but
same here.
Anyway.
Yeah. That's a shame. Did you give your pick for original screenplay?
I'll probably just pick Trial of the Chicago 7.
Okay.
I don't want it to win, but
sure.
That seems like the safest bet.
Okay. So moving on to adapted screenplay, I have a question about this, but we've got Borat subsequent movie film, The Father, Nomadland.
Read the full title for Borat.
Oh God, no. Borat subsequent movie film, blah 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 blah. The Father, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, and The White Tiger. And I've only seen Borat subsequent movie film and Nomadland of this list. And in what way is Borat adapted?
I think so. The Academy has these weird rules as far as what qualifies for adapted and original, because I had the same question as well. The answer is that Borat was a previously existing character. So
okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Sure. Okay, yeah, whatever.
But I mean, it's incredible. It's crazy that it would get a nomination in this category.
Absolutely. Like if you would have said in February of 2020 that the 2021, like the nominees for the 2021 Academy Awards were going to include Borat 2 for Best Adapted Screenplay, and that most of us will have been working from home for the most part for the entire year,
and that 500,000 of us would be dead.
Exactly. It's so weird.
To that point, I will point out, and I'm fairly positive this is accurate. The original Borat was nominated in the screenplay category.
Was it really? Okay. Wow. Okay. So there is precedent. Okay.
Yeah. That being said, the Borat 2 screenplay just wasn't.
Yeah. It honestly didn't leave an impression with me. Even like the Rudy Giuliani stuff, which I thought was pretty crazy, it was kind of fleeting to me.
I feel like the scripted parts of Borat were the weakest parts.
Yeah. I do think there is a very touching father-daughter kind of story there, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, just didn't leave an impression.
Yeah.
So yeah, my pick would be Nomadland, but then again, I've only seen 2 of them, so yeah.
I would also pick Nomadland, especially like just knowing that just how Chloe Zhao adapted that story, and how most of the actors in that are not traditional actors, they're just regular people, and how she was able to craft that story is great.
Absolutely.
Snub here, I'm thinking of Ending Things.
Yeah, that
especially given that it was written by Charlie Kaufman, and he's an Oscar winner for screenplay.
And holy shit, that movie got completely shut out.
Yes, it did.
Wow.
I mean, I don't. I think if it would have gotten any nominations, screenplay would have been one of them.
Yeah.
But even that was probably a long shot, just because I feel like Netflix kind of forgot to campaign for it, maybe.
Right.
I mean,
they did put all their weight behind Mank.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking to verify this. I mean, it was my top movie of the year. And here I'm just like, oh, it got completely shut out. And I had no opinion about it or no knowledge of that. That's a shame. That's too bad.
Yeah.
Animated feature film?
Sure.
Okay. And your turn to read.
Okay.
Yes. I already know that I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on this category, because I know that one is going to be I don't know. Well, yeah.
Would you say it would send us over the moon?
Let's just move onward.
Animated feature film: Onward, Over the Moon, Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, Soul, and Wolfwalkers.
Yes, and I've seen all of these except Shaun the Sheep. Yeah.
Okay.
And I know that you were a big fan of the Willoughbys from Netflix.
I don't know if I'd say
you loved it, and you have a tattoo from it.
Yeah. My whole house is. Our family costume for Halloween this year is the Willoughbys.
Nice.
I would say that it was better than Over the Moon.
Yeah, Over the Moon was another movie that just did not leave an impression on me, and just felt so just kind of rote and it was a basic bitch. No, it just seemed kind of a thing. Standard, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you think Wolfwalkers has a chance to take this away from Pixar?
No.
Okay, interesting. And which Pixar movie do you think will get it?
Soul.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Onward was fine. It was good, but Soul, I think, has just a lot more soul to it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen all of these, and I still like Wolfwalkers the best.
Okay. Yeah.
Just because the story may not have been the most original, but the way that it animated was just so impressive, and it was just far from the Pixar standard kind of style.
It was incredibly distinctive. I will give it that. I wasn't too engaged with it on a story level, but I mean, the visual style was really really strong.
Yeah. I think if I had to, you know, bet my stimulus check on any category, it would be animated feature and probably Soul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's a very safe bet.
Yeah. I mean, it's not called the Pixar category for nothing.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah. And do you want to skip original song, or do you have thoughts on that? Because I have no thoughts on any of these.
No, I have no thoughts.
Okay. So documentary feature, we've got Collective, Crip Camp, The Mole Agent, My Octopus Teacher, and Time. And of these 5, I've only seen Crip Camp and Time. And yeah,
I didn't know you had seen Time.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was good. I liked it, but I think I liked Crip Camp more, but also, I mean, it was fine. Like, it didn't blow me away. Shocked and appalled that Boy State is not on here.
Same here. Yeah, strap yourself in, because I've got several snubs for this category.
Nice. Let's hear them.
All right. So I have seen all of these except for The Mole Agent.
Okay.
And I will see The Mole Agent because it's on Hulu.
Okay.
So yeah, Boys State I would say is the biggest snub, and it was on the short list. Let's see what else. 76 Days was on the short list.
Oh my God, 76 Days. Yeah. Yeah. Damn it.
And let's see what else was on the short list. I didn't see this one, but I think you did. MLK FBI.
I did, and I liked it, but also it was kind of a weird. I don't know. It was an interesting documentary, and it did have a lot of interesting things to say. But also, the entire documentary is based around the fact that in like 2027, the records of the FBI records for MLK are going to be open to the public or something.
Okay.
And it's just like I don't really get necessarily the point to make a documentary now and not then. But it was good. It was engaging. Yeah.
Okay. So what else could have been? I don't even think this was on the short list, but Athlete A from Netflix. The story about the Larry Nassar scandal. I really enjoyed that one.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah, that was a really good one. And there was another one that I was going to say, but I can't remember what it was. I'm surprised the Social Dilemma didn't get that, but also that's a weird hybrid too. So
I forget. I don't think that one was on the short list.
Okay.
But Dick Johnson Is Dead.
Oh yeah.
Which I liked it at the time. I think I have kind of soured on it a little bit. I mean, I still like it, but my feelings have kind of warmed over a little bit.
Sure.
So, but still, I like it a lot better than, I mean, My Octopus Teacher is good.
Okay.
But it's not as good as any of the ones that we just mentioned.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, there was Desert One, I think was that on the short list, do you know? No.
Nope.
That was a really cool documentary.
I think you watched this one, All In, The Fight for Democracy.
I did, and I liked that a lot too. Wow. There were a lot of snubs in this. I also think that the documentary Rewind was eligible for it. I saw it in 2019 at Heartland, but I would have loved to see that get a nomination because that was an incredible documentary.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Painter and the Thief, also great.
Oh yeah.
That one I believe was on the short list for.
Okay.
Was it for international as well? It was definitely for a documentary, but
okay.
Anyway, that I think that's the biggest ones that I wanted to hit on, ones that did not get nominated.
Okay.
I don't know. don't know what I'm going to pick for this one.
Interesting.
It's kind of hard to tell where the Academy is leaning. I did really like Collective.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That one is coming to Hulu, I want to say the 25th of March. So I feel like that one would be right up Tiny's alley.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Tiny, if you're listening, check that one out for sure and let me know what you think.
Sweet.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think?
I would love to see Crip Camp get it. Just because I think that's it's an interesting story, and I really I think it was told well, I guess. I mean, that's kind of just I'm just gonna be forever sad that Boy State didn't get a nomination.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the sake of brevity, I will also, I guess, pick Crip Camp because as well, last year, American Factory won, and that one was produced by the Obamas, and so was this one. So I don't know, for that reason, mostly.
Nice. Shall we move on to international feature film? Unless you have anything for documentary shorts.
Just real quick, I can say I've seen all of these.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Any you recommend?
Hunger Ward, I just watched today, is maybe the hardest movie I've ever sat through.
Oh, really?
Ever had to sit through. Like, I considered turning it off after the first 10 minutes or so.
Like,
it is rough.
Is it in terms of content or production?
Yeah, content.
Okay.
Yeah. It's about the civil war in Yemen.
Okay.
And specifically, it's about a hospital that is treating children who are now malnutritious.
Malnourished?
Yeah, malnourished. Because of the war, nobody can get aid into the country. Jeez. So all these kids are starving, and it is brutal. Ugh. It is rough.
Yeah, that sounds like something I don't want to see.
I do not blame you.
Interesting.
As for good ones, Do Not Split I liked quite a bit. It's about the protests in Hong Kong.
Okay.
And it's told on a very kind of like 76 Days, very like on the ground, no talking heads, that kind of stuff, very in the moment. So it's just about the protests there and how it's just told from a people's perspective. Yeah, I don't know enough about what's gonna win, but that's just all I'll say.
Okay. And is it my turn or your turn?
My turn.
Okay. So international feature film?
International feature film. Another Round from Denmark. Better Days from Hong Kong. Collective from Romania. The Man Who Sold His Skin from Tunisia. And Ku Vadis Aida? Question mark? From Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yeah, so Another Round is the only one that I've seen of this, and yeah, I loved it, and I think that it would be a good pick. How about you?
Yeah, I think Another Round is the favorite here, and it probably will win. I have seen all of these except for The Man Who Sold His Skin.
Okay, interesting.
And yeah, Collective is very good, and it's kind of surprising that it's kind of like Honeyland from last year.
Oh yeah, I was not crazy about Honeyland.
Yeah, you're wrong. But...
Sure. I think that was a situation where I watched it in kind of a screener fugue state. So I like just powered through to watch it, and it was like I didn't latch on to whatever narrative was there for me to find. And I just was like, I just was completely disengaged the entire time through it. So I think that's maybe if I revisit it, I will appreciate it more. I will say that I did recently have a dream involving a lot of bees. So I don't know. Maybe I'm primed for that now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think it'll be Another Round.
Okay.
I forget if I've said this on the podcast already or not, but I did not watch a ton of international movies last year.
Yeah, same here.
Not because they were hard to find or anything. I just didn't get around to too many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quo Vadis Aida is pretty good.
Okay.
I knew nothing about it going into it, and I was pretty impressed.
Nice.
Better Days kind of sucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Collective is very good.
Nice.
I was gonna make this joke in the documentary category, but
okay.
So, it's hard to really classify Collective as a documentary because it imagines a world where a bad thing happens and something changes because of it.
Never had that experience before.
Yeah, no, it's totally foreign to us.
Right.
But yeah,
wow.
it's a very good film.
Nice.
Tiny, check it out.
Yes. Tiny, check out all of these. So, actor in a supporting role. We've got Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of the Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, Paul Raci for Sound of Metal, and Lakeith Stanfield for Judas and the Black Messiah. So, I've only seen Sound of Metal and The Trial of the Chicago 7, but in terms of talent in this category, first of all, I mean, Paul Raci, I think, did a phenomenal job as a kind of a breakout in that role. But I have got to say, I am just so happy to see both Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield and Leslie Odom Jr., but Lakeith Stanfield in particular, I think. I haven't seen Judas and the Black Messiah, but I would love to see him win just because I think he is incredibly talented. What do you think of this category?
I think that, yes, I share how you feel that it's great that both of them are nominated because I don't think Lakeith was nominated at the Golden Globes.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But I'm happy that both of them are nominated. I think it's kind of weird, and I think the biggest quote unquote controversy that people got out of the nominations in general is that they're both nominated in the same category, which once you see that movie you will totally agree with me that Lakeith Stanfield is the lead actor in that movie. He is not a supporting actor.
Was this like a political move with the campaigning for it?
So here's what I understand about it, and I may be wrong.
Okay.
So the way that the nominations are tabulated is that an actor, whatever category an actor gets the most nominations in, is what they are nominated for. So I think the studio that did Judas and the Black Messiah campaigned for him in both, I guess.
I see.
And so he ended up, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I think I heard that whichever category gets tabulated first, that is what they'll get nominated for.
I think I heard something like that too. That's unique.
Yeah, and I don't totally agree with it. But,
right, same here.
So that could explain it.
Okay.
Again, I might be wrong on some of the details, but I feel like that's accurate.
Okay.
So, but again, once you watch it, you will agree with me. Lakeith Stanfield is not the supporting actor in that movie. Okay. I don't know who would be if they both qualify as a supporting actor.
Right.
But also super happy that Paul Raci was nominated because I did not see that coming. I was rooting for it, but I didn't think it was happen just because, I mean, I think I read this that he didn't even have a Wikipedia page before this movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, I'm happy with the nominees overall. I would be kind of annoyed if Sacha Baron Cohen were to win it.
Yeah.
Just because I was kind of annoyed with his performance because it's so showy and so schmucky. I guess.
I totally get that. I definitely get that. But I think that he I think he did I think he is the best of the crop of that ensemble in his performance. Maybe I might walk that back if I revisit the movie, but oh my god, what is his name? Jupiter Ascending and
Eddie
Stephen
Redmayne?
Hawking. Eddie Redmayne. He does something with his voice that I mean, it's something that it's just so evocative of that particular type of like young political kid kind of activist person that like I can't really articulate it that well, but it's just it seems like so on point. So I mean, yeah, but I think Sacha Baron Cohen stood out to me in that movie, but it's been a while since I've seen it.
Maybe it's just because I like him as an actor in general, but I liked Mark Rylance more.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he would technically qualify as a supporting actor in that movie or not, but
I feel like he should, but also I kind of feel like him and who played the judge?
Frank Langella.
Yeah, Frank Langella. Langella? I don't know. I think they both were less so for Rylance, but I feel like they were both kind of sidled with weaker roles in the grand scheme of things, in the grand ensemble, because they kind of like, especially Frank Langella, he seemed just kind of cartoony, in kind of a
like
antagonistic
the big bad
role.
guy.
Yes, yes, yeah. And when he slams his gavel and he's like, "If I can't have order, no one can." So
speaking of actors in a supporting role and snubs,
yes. So who do you think was snubbed for The Five Bloods?
No, I don't know. I mean, if we were to take Lakeith Stanfield out of here, I honestly would have just put in one of the other guys from One Night in Miami.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know. I mean, that is a true. There is no leading actor in that movie, so it would be justified there.
Okay,
but I still think that Daniel Kaluuya is going to win.
Nice.
That's going to be my pick.
I'd be happy with that. I've been a huge fan of him ever since I saw his episode of Black Mirror several years ago. So actress
Anthology podcast.
Yes, thank you. Check out anthologypod.com, which is, I'm so excited. Just quick, I'm so excited because since we got the new equipment and everything, I have been recording anthology episodes in a very I'm excited because I have the first like 4 episodes of season 3 ready to go, and basically the $10 Patreon supporters already have access to 3 of those. And what I'm going to do is when I start season 3, I'm going to put the day that the first episode drops on the main feed, I'm going to release the early access for the 4th episode, and then the 5th episode for the 2nd episode, and so on and so forth. That way Patreon supporters who already have access to that get a new episode when the previously early access episode on Patreon dropped same day. So that'll be fun. Anyway, so check out patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. So actress in a supporting role, I believe it's your turn or my turn?
I can take this one.
Okay, I think it is your turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actress in a supporting role, Maria Bakalova from Borat's subsequent movie film.
Say the full name.
Glenn Close from Hillbilly Elegy. Olivia Colman, the father. Amanda Seyfried from 1996 D3 The Mighty Ducks.
Nice.
And Yu Jung from Minari.
Okay. So I have seen Minari and Borat subsequent movie film. How do you feel about this category, and who do you think will win?
I mean, this may be one of the more difficult categories to predict.
Interesting.
Glenn
Close has never won.
That's correct.
Okay.
Which you might say totally is the reason why she was nominated for a garbage role in a garbage movie.
Yeah, I don't think I have heard a single positive thing about Hillbilly Elegy.
No.
And
not even really. I mean, maybe there are a handful of her performance.
Okay.
But the rest of it, no.
Do you think there will be a revolt if she wins? Like I think that it could be like a legacy nomination or legacy win if she wins, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. That would be, I haven't seen Hillbilly Elegy, but I don't really have any interest in seeing it.
Nor should you.
Yeah.
Outside of morbid curiosity.
Right.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to say that I expected it to get 0 nominations, but I still thought there was an outside chance she would get nominated for this.
Okay.
Plus, did we mention it's nominated in freaking costumes?
Oh, did we? Is it?
I don't think I'm making that up. Let me scroll back down
because I feel like we would have talked about it. But also,
oh no, I guess it did.
Okay, I was gonna say like
you can cut that out.
No, that's fine. In my head, I'm like, we would have talked about it, but then also it's Hillbilly Elegy. Like it could have just completely blown past.
I think if I remember right, I think it was on the short list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
So yeah, I've seen all of these except for The Father. And from what I've heard, Olivia Colman is very good. I mean, she's freaking Olivia Colman.
Yeah.
So.
If she wins, she won for The Favorite. And then did she also win? Like, no.
No.
Okay.
That's her only win.
Okay. I thought she won for something else. Huh,
she might have won an Emmy because she's on The Crown.
That may
but I don't know.
have been what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so did you already say what your pick would be?
No. Can we talk about Yoon Jung for Minari?
Yes, absolutely.
And how great that nomination is?
Yes. I love every performance in that movie. I really was kind of heartbroken that that the kid wasn't nominated.
Yeah.
Just because I think he did a phenomenal job. But yeah, so yeah. How did you feel?
Yeah. I'm surprised and happy that she got a nomination. I was kind of afraid. I think we talked about this in the Golden Globes that we were afraid that Minari would just be relegated to like I guess it doesn't even really qualify as an international, but just definitely not expecting the nominations that it got.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm happy with it. I'm excited. I don't know how much of a chance she has to win.
Right.
I really like Amanda Seyfried in Mank, and I know that is like of all the people that were kind of lukewarm to negative on Mank, they almost all said positive things about Amanda Seyfried, and I agree with her. So I could see her winning. I could see Glenn Close winning in some crazy universe. I could see. I can't really comment on Olivia Colman, but I've heard that she's great.
My confusion over Olivia Colman was because I remembered that. So the reason I thought that she won twice is because when she won for The Favorite, and then the next year she presented for supporting actress. And I remember because she killed on presenting for it, I think. And I think that's when she said something like that was the greatest night of my life, but it was also a really great night for my husband or something. I was like, that's really funny.
So give her another Oscar.
Yeah,
that's what we're
absolutely.
saying.
Yeah. I'm pretty lukewarm on wanting to see Mank. Even though it's kind of right up my alley, like a movie about filmmaking and period movie and kind of prestige.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that of every component to Mank, I think that Amanda Seyfried is the one that I'm most interested in seeing that performance, because I think that I think she's very talented. So I'm anxious to kind of see how she does. Yeah. And did you Amanda Seyfried is your pick? Do you think Maria Bakalova will take this?
That throws another wrench into it, because I mean, I know people were saying that she could get nominated, like when Borat first came out, but I think a lot of people were kind of almost taking it as a joke. Like,
yeah, maybe, yeah.
But I'm okay with her getting a nomination at least.
Oh yeah.
Given that, well, I guess it didn't really have a chance at any other nominations. It got the screenplay nomination, but I mean, I was going to say that just based on the lack of nominations elsewhere, that kind of speaks to what the Academy says about it. But I mean, just for the sake of ending things, I'll say, you know what? I'll say Amanda Seyfried.
Okay, nice. Yeah. I would be very happy if Yoon Jung won for Minari.
Yes, I'll be very happy with that too.
Yeah. But I will say that if when they're voting and everything, and if they're tabulating the votes and everything, maybe Maria Bakalova will kind of split the difference on some of them, and maybe that'll cause it to be kind of Glenn Close in the amount of votes.
Let's hope that Rudy Giuliani is not tabulating the votes.
Right? Oh God. Okay. Oh, let's round it out with Best Picture. I forgot to ask you earlier if you have a hard out, so I'm sorry. Okay, good. So Best Picture. Do you want to alternate reading them? That could be kind of fun.
Ooh. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We should have like the ceremony. We should have sprinkled them in.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Throughout this episode.
Yep. I'll get us started. Best Picture nominee 1. Oh, we don't have to do all that. Best Picture nominees: The Father,
Judas and the Black Messiah,
Mank,
Minari,
Nomadland,
Promising Young Woman,
Sound of Metal,
and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yes. So I have seen all of these except for The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, and Mank. And of the 5 that I've seen, I mean, Minari or Nomadland. I'm pulling for Nomadland on a personal level, just because I really love that movie. How do you feel about the Best Picture nominees, and what was snubbed in addition to Da 5 Bloods?
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much is it. That, like we said earlier, there isn't a whole lot to be upset about in this category. I mean, there could have been 2 more nominations,
right?
But I don't know what else there would have been. Maybe Soul?
Yeah.
I mean,
Soul...
Pixar has snuck in the Best Picture category,
right?
You know, once in a blue moon, but
yeah. Another round, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with the nominees.
Nice.
Like I said earlier, there's no there's no evergreen
pamphlet.
evergreen pamphlet among them.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, Hillbillyology could have been in there. Yeah. I mean, it's a good list. It's a good list. What movie do you think will win?
Nomadland.
Okay. Nice.
Just based on, it won the Golden Globe for drama. It won, all of the major festivals last year, TIFF, Venice, I think.
Nice.
And I'm sure it'll win the BAFTA. I'm sure it'll win. Well, maybe it won't. I don't know if it's nominated for the big prize at SAG. But yeah, it's almost unstoppable at this point.
That's awesome. I'm really hoping that it pulls through and does well, because I really I was really taken with that movie.
Yes.
Yep.
Same here.
Yeah.
Would you have a backup favorite? One that you, if Nomadland does not win, then blank?
I would say Minari.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be a solid backup. A pretty solid number 2.
Okay.
How about you? I just hiccuped.
I think, honestly, I might say Promising Young Woman, just because it is kind of a mainstream, kind of popcorny movie.
It's got a Paris Hilton song in it.
Yep.
That works so well in a surprising way.
It's got an instrumental Britney Spears song.
Yes.
It's like I said, it's kind of a fresh story with a great performance and a great cast that is original.
Do you think Bo Burnham should have been nominated or in the running for supporting actor? I mean, it's a pretty stacked category anyway.
Not really.
Okay.
No.
I really liked his performance. I hope he does more, like acting. I also hope he directs more, because I really loved 8th Grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bo, get on that.
Yep.
No, I think they are nominated for Best Cast at the SAGs, and I hope that they win, because I think I think Promising Young Woman had the best cast, top to bottom.
Oh, interesting. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. I can't speak to it, but I would have thought maybe One Night in Miami.
I mean, yeah, from sheer ratio, like there's not a single bad performance in that, but
right.
Just the cast in Promising Young Woman and how they're utilized, and what each actor brings to the table is I really enjoyed.
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah, I would also love to see Minari win. I don't know how likely that is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like everything else in 2020. This is unpredictable. Almost. Just because, I mean, I didn't even know how much of a chance Judas and the Black Messiah would have.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm happy with it getting a nomination, and I think an argument could be made that it could win.
Nice.
But again, Nomadland.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that does it for this episode of the Obsessive Viewer. We are going to hopefully, knock on wood, we are going to be doing a Best Picture potpourri in the lead up to the Oscars. So we're going to kind of just talk in depth about each of the nominees for Best Picture, and then we also have an Ebert's Great Movies List episode on the horizon featuring Tiny. Don't know when that's going to be, but we'll get that out soon. And any parting thoughts on the Oscars or on the podcast or anything, Ben?
Love the board.
Oh, nice. Yeah, thank you. And congratulations once again on your acceptance into the IFJA.
Thank you.
And looking forward to to doing IFJA things with you.
Looking forward to it as well.
Nice. All right, well, that'll do it for this episode of The Obsessive Viewer. Obviously, we're going to forego potpourri, if that wasn't clear. So thank you guys so much for listening. And once again, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. And thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
And now, here's a short clip from our Patreon-exclusive RSS feed. To hear the full clip and more exclusive Patreon content, go to patreon.com/obsessiveviewer and become a patron at the minimum rate of $1 per month. Thank you and enjoy. Instead of watching it during work or whatever. So, my voice just cracked. That's great. Anyway, so I watched the first episode. I don't have the title or anything. It just said episode 1, so I don't know what the title is going to be when it releases. But this was one of those shows that I was very much looking forward to. Out of the kind of crop of Marvel Cinematic Universe on Disney Plus and like the new stuff that was coming out and everything, this was the thing that interested me the most because I really love Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. They're back and forth in, I think it was the Civil War, was a lot of fun. And I really, really was so taken with the Super Bowl trailer for this show. And I was just so amped for it. And I'm very happy to say that I really enjoyed this first episode. Now, I'm going to be spoiling it. So if you haven't watched the first episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, come back and listen to it when you watch it. This first episode,
The Obsessive Viewer podcast is edited and produced by Matt Hurt and presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. For a full archive of our episodes, go to ObsessiveViewer.com/OV archive. You can also like our Facebook page and join the OV Facebook group at facebook.com/TheObsessiveViewer, and follow us on Twitter at ObsessiveViewer and at ObsessiveTiny, and follow our recurring co-hosts at I am Mike White, that's me, at R.A. Feckus, and at Burger_Lurker. If you enjoy the show, please take a couple minutes to leave us a rating and a quick review on Apple Podcasts. This is the easiest way to support what we do, and all it costs is a little bit of your time. If you'd like to donate to the podcast, you can make a PayPal donation at obsessiveviewer.com/donate, or support us on Patreon for recurring donations and access to commentary tracks and B-roll audio recorded exclusively for patrons at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Every donation goes toward paying the fees to keep the podcast running and is greatly appreciated. For official Obsessive Viewer merch, including shirts, mugs, phone cases, and more, visit our TeePublic store. You can find a link to the store in the show notes of this episode and at obsessiveviewer.com/donate. Or you can simply search for Obsessive Viewer at teepublic.com, T-E-E, public.com. For information about our annual live event showcasing short horror films from local filmmakers, check out shocktoberInIrvington.com. And for an archive of all our events, as well as news about potential future events, head over to obsessiveviewer.com/live. For more podcast content, you can find Anthology, Matt's solo podcast covering The Twilight Zone and other classic and contemporary science fiction anthology TV shows at anthologypod.com and on Twitter at OVAnthologyPod. You can also find Tower Junkies, a podcast where Matt and Tiny share their love of all things Stephen King and his magnum opus, the Dark Tower series, at towerjunkiespod.com and at towerjunkiespod on Twitter. And finally, check out The Secular Perspective, Tiny's side project podcast, which tackles current events and life's big questions from the perspective of secular hosts Chad and Amanda at thesecularperspective.com. The theme music for The Obsessive Viewer comes courtesy of the band Loudlike from their EP Mistakes We Must Make. Additional bumper music is provided courtesy of As Good As It Gets, which can be found at facebook.com/asgoodasitgetsband. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Kitty!